In the beginning, God created the heavens and the cosmos. From the ocean he brought land, and on that land he created life. He raised soil from the ground, and in its wake it took the shape of man. From the man he took half, and with it created a companion that took an equal shape, which he called a woman. He named the man Adam, and the woman Eve. He drew a mighty breath and breathed the gift of life into them, creating the human soul. To them both he gave a kingdom of fruit and rivers. The Lord then spoke, "Live free in this land I have given to you, and live well. It shall be known as Laki, and from it you shall birth the first son of man." To watch over this kingdom from heaven, God selected an angel. He was the most beautiful and the first of his creation. He was to maintain earth and those who lived on it. And the angel's name was Lucifer. In time, the kingdom became populous. Everyone spoke praises in the same tongue, prayed side by side in unison. Lucifer grew mad with jealousy. One day he descended to the kingdom. "Rejoice! I am the Lord your God. I have come to give you joy and happiness." The children of Adam believed. For him they took the stone of their homes, and by his command began to build an obelisk. He told them that if it may reach into heaven, they shall join him there. They toiled as slaves until the obelisk stood taller than anything else, and gathered at the peak, Lucifer said to them, "You are my soldiers, and it is time for you to join me in battle. Chant my name, give me your blood, and you shall walk side by side with me in the conquest of heaven." When the name of Lucifer rang throughout the kingdom, it is then the Lord awoke. In rage he surrounded them, and with great fervor declared, "Today this land shall weep, for I have been betrayed by my own children. You may have your obelisk, but it shall be remembered by all as a memory of your treachery. Look to it from afar and know your great sin." He took all those who lived in the kingdom and gave them new tongues, with which he made them unable to understand each other. He gave them new hearts, with which he made them able to hate each other. And he gave them new souls, with which he gave the ways of repentance. It is these new souls he spread to all corners of the earth, and it is then the kingdom of Laki was eradicated. Lucifer was cast from heaven, striking the earth like a bolt of lightning. He was made prisoner to the earth, never to rise again. All that remained was the obelisk. The Lord used his strength to harden the stone so that it may never be broken, and he allowed it to stand forever as a reminder of the first sin.
The Croatian column, located near Osijek in what was the historical Croat region of Slavonia, has had many names throughout its long history. The Croatians called it Sveti Turanj, the Christians referred to it as simply the obelisk, and the Romans gave it the name Turris Caelestis, or Heaven Tower. What the column did not share with various cultures in its name, it did in its strange anomalies. Magyar, Mongol, Illyrian, Croat, Serb, Roman, Turk, all claim and have documents of its firings. Once a generation, on exactly the same date, at exactly the same time, the column will release at its tip a blinding light for about a minute before going dark again. There is no general consensus for where the light comes from or why it happens, with hundreds of stories of this phenomenon from all across of history. Worship of the column continued until 1945, when the Socialist Federal Government of South Slavs, better known as Yugoslavia, banned religious gatherings around the column and declared it Zujovic's Point, after the founder of the socialist state, Sretin Zujovic. This, of course, was met with outrage by the remnants of the far-right hyper-Christian Croatian nationalist movement, reincorporated into Yugoslavia after the Second World War, and actively conspiring against the socialist government. Their leader wrote in 1946, the early Christians had a simple explanation for the light, as the earliest recorded firing was on February 2nd, 132 AD, and that the column has fired every 33 years since on this date. They say with confidence that the first firing was on February 2nd, 33 AD. This is, at least to the Christians, uncoincidentally the date that most historians agree was the crucifixion of Jesus Christ. They say that the moment he drew his last breath, the column fired a holy light into the sky, and that it would fire once a generation until the Messiah was reborn. When Christianity reached the area where the column was located in 325 AD, it instantly became a holy site, similar in significance to the Kaaba in Islamic faiths. Even when the Illyrians became the Croatians, when the area was conquered by the Ottoman Turks, when the area was conquered and reconquered, despite all of this, every 33rd day of every 33rd year, thousands of people of all nationalities and descents gathered around the column to witness it fire.
USB titled My Favorite Things is the longest in the collection. Its space length is 2 hours, 45 minutes, and 38 seconds. Despite my best attempts, I cannot get it to play past the point you just saw. I have tried for months, yet to no avail. It is corrupted beyond repair. However, in this time something strange has been happening to me. I have begun to see visions. Some last for the blink of an eye, some go on for minutes. I'm also starting to hear voices, some unknown and some oddly familiar. As I believe it is important to this archive, I have recreated these visions to the best of my ability.
The Croatian column. Man. You know, my faith dictated I had to visit this thing once in my lifetime, and I never did. Oh well. Better late than never, right? Who am I kidding? You of all people should know the danger of trying to find God in this world. In fact, if you were here, I bet you'd go on a long rant about how the veneration of a... what did you call it? The world's biggest flashlight is demeaning or dehumanizing or whatever. But they found out it was more than a flashlight, did they? I remember you used that when we were in the debate club. To say what you said against the most holy place in the entirety of Christianity, in the middle of Illinois, was ironically the most nervous I'd ever been around you. And I was on the other team. As always, you had your points. Your wisdom, as you called it. But you weren't that tolerant, were you? Hell, back at school you could barely even stand me. Not the greatest Buddhist. Well, I was never the greatest Catholic either. I think, out of everything we went through, it was the emptiness that hit me the most. The vastness of time between seeing any living souls and then the quality of the people we found. Their demeanors and general scumness was something I never really got used to. I hate to quote it, but it was right. There are no saints in your homeland, and saints abroad are just as rare. It's a shame what hardship can do to a man. Perhaps there is a God. After all, I've lived through all of this, and not without struggles. Perhaps there's truly someone guiding my path and protecting me. I just wonder, where was he then? And where is he now? I pushed the thought away, but sometimes I think he's been right above us this whole time.